Hey YouTube, so what you're looking at here is my DIY breather kit for a stock air intake for an Iron 2020 1200. And I'm doing this video because there's nothing that you can buy online that will let you do this. The only ones you can buy are for aftermarket air intakes, which are gonna run you at least over $100 plus, or you could get a cheaper one, which I've seen for 70 bucks. So this is basically a kit that I started working on 2 days ago, just to get it put on by today or by tomorrow, because I'm going to be going up to the Central Coast, and that's 600 miles round trip, and I don't want a lot of oil and gases going back into my engine. So I decided to build this because I couldn't find anybody making this. So I'm going to give you the parts list, go over everything. I'm not going to tell you what it's, well, I'll tell you what it's for when I'm actually doing it, because after this I'm going to be going outside to a motorcycle and doing the first two steps of this process. So here's a JB Weld, and I know some people are going to be JB Weld, that's kind of sketchy, but you'll see. The Loctite super glue, it's going to be for plastic. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You probably only need 6, but I got 7 clamps, O-ring clamps. And this is actually the breather bolt for the 2020 Iron 1200. I know the older models come with a nipple, but this one didn't. And yeah. So that's that. And then I got these 4 pieces right here. I got them at Ace Hardware Store. And no, not Ace. Is it Ace? Yeah, it's Ace Hardware Store down in Fullerton. This one doesn't have the sticker on it, but this is a T barb, and I believe it's 3/8 because it fits into this 3/8 tube. Let me see. Yeah, so it fits in a 3/8 tube. So 3/8 T barb. Then I got another barb. I think this is a 5/16 barb. It does fit on here. Fits a little. There you go. So it fits in the 3/8 fuel tubing, and this is the fuel tubing. I got around 3 feet, 2.5. Didn't really count. And for the most needed pieces are right here, and these are only found in Fullerton Ace Hardware. I'll give you the part number. So the part number is 4506218, and you need 2 of these. And I think I spent in total on everything around $70. It's probably going to be around 80 because I still have to get the filter to catch basically the catch can to catch the oil and let all the gases out. And then I got this Diablo tip. It's for wood, but I'm gonna use it for plastic, just so I can route the route the tube out the back of the box, the air box. And then I got this to cut off some stuff, and it comes with 3 sizes. So this one is a little bit finer for plastic, and then the sandpaper is a 400 grit, and that's going to be for the plastic, so you can get a good bond between plastic and metal. So that's all the things you will need, except for the catch can, basically the filter. And if you want, you can use O-rings like the rubber grommets, if you want, but this is going to fit pretty tight. So I'll see you out there in a bit. I'm going to go out there and start the first 2 steps. See ya. Alright, so I just got out here, opened the bike up. I put the stock air intake back to normal. I turned it on just to see if it sounds good and see if everything works well. I'm going to be tearing it apart because I got to do some stuff to it. That is going to need everything to be taken off. So the prep work starts before I do the big major steps, and we have the 400 grit we got the JB weld right there, and we got the 2 elbows, the brass elbows. So I'm gonna be sanding inside here with the 400 grit, and I'm also gonna be sanding the breather bolts, the top of them, so they could get a great JB weld. And I'm gonna let that set for 24 hours. So hopefully in the morning I'm gonna mess around with it, or maybe on Wednesday or Tuesday. Maybe on Tuesday. I want to give it 24 hours. So that's what I'm gonna start right now. Start sanding these, and then I'm gonna go ahead and sand those bolts over there, and I'll show you that. And I also brought some towels and some alcohol, so I could take off all the little material that gets stuck in here from sanding it. And after that, I'm gonna take some of the rubbing alcohol, pour some over here, there. So that did a pretty good job. It's just trying to get off all the oils and get off anything that's going to mess up the weld, or the JB weld. 3/16 hex, and that's going to be for the front. And this one's pretty easy. You could literally do it by hand after you break it. Take that off. Set it down. And then for the second part are these, the star bolts. I call them star bolts. I don't know the real name. And that will take, that's gonna take a T27. So T27. And these are pretty easy as well once you break them. And I'll show you what we have to cut as well. So that's the filter. Those are the breather bolts. And put the bolts in there. So the thing that we have to cut are these off the filter, so we can let that. So we have to cut these off, so these can actually, you know, be able to fit in its place right there, and then get piped down, or get sent down. So we have to cut these, and that's why I got that. But we'll do that in a little bit. First, I gotta go sand these. So basically, just wrap around. Sand them up. So I'm gonna do a little bit better without the camera, so I'm gonna turn you guys off and turn you guys on in a little bit. Evaporate. And then what I'm going to do next is actually cut these off the air filter. So I'm gonna start doing that. Just cut those off. That was pretty easy with that smaller, with that finer saw teeth right there. That was pretty easy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sand these a lot smoother, because I'm gonna put plastic over them so it can have a great suction with the air, so no air can go through these. So I'm gonna sand these and get those ready for the right there. So I'm gonna cut these a little bit down. So there you go. One down, one more to go. I'm gonna take out the other bolt, cut it up, set it in, and see if it works. So that just took off at least. Let me see, where's that piece at? Put that over there. Took off this much, and let me get my. So I took off. Let's see. Took off at least a little bit over 1/8. So I took off a little bit over 1/8 off this thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the other one up, mock it up, and see if it fits. And if it doesn't, well, kind of screwed, to be honest. So it kind of has to work now. All right, see you guys in a little bit. Alright, so it worked. It worked. So I cut those down. I cut the bolts down. Like I said earlier in the video, I forgot what size, but I cut them down and I put these back on. And yep, the filter goes on there perfectly and it fits. So now I'm just gonna kind of go pull the bolts back out, put some Loctite, and then go ahead and start mixing the JB Weld and put these on there, and hopefully everything goes well. Alright, so I'm gonna start mixing the JB Weld and see how everything goes. Using this right here just to mix it with, make sure it's clean. So it's gonna be even parts of the red and the black. Mix it together. I'm gonna take it over there and start putting it on stuff. And this is a scary. There we go. Some people are gonna say it's a horrible idea. I know, but I'm already committed because I already cut my breather bolts. So I'm gonna do a good amount just to have more than less. Crazy. Just enough. Alright, so I got the weld on, got it on there too. I put some JB Weld on the side just to kind of keep it locked in, and that's about it. They're pretty tight on there. So basically that's it for the first 2 parts or 3 parts or whatever it is. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go get some tape. No, I'm not going to tape it. What I'm going to do is leave it like that. I'm going to put back on the air filter and the tap, and then just let it harden for 24 hours. So maybe so I cut it down to cut down the breather bolt. I JB welded inside the brass L, or that brass elbow, and around the breather bolt. It seemed like it was pretty good. It was pretty solid. There might be some pockets of air in there. I'm not too sure, but I don't want to put so much in there that it clogs it, so none of the oil and the gases can escape. So I put it on there. I put the filter on there, and when I put the filter back on, just to keep those brass L's on the breather bolts, and I put everything back on to look stock. It touched them, but I don't think it touched them that much to make a huge difference, but it fits. So it fits, and I'm excited about that. So the next part is going to be tomorrow, is to just get the filter and get some plastic and super glue the back so there's no air getting sucked in and out of the back of the filter. So that's next up. And so I just turned on the motorcycle 5 minutes ago. I had the stock air intake, everything was stock. I just had these on and it sounded pretty good. I checked the compression right now. I blew in it with my hose and it seemed like there was good airflow. So now what I'm gonna do is start putting in the tubes and see how that works out. See if it hits the filter. And I got some plastic covers I'm gonna put on that, which I'm gonna glue overnight. So I'm gonna take down the house and show you that. Okay, so I got this far right now. Basically I got that clamp, I shoved it in there. I took a little bit, because this tube is a little bit too tight, so I took a little bit out, put the clamp on. I'm gonna put another one right here and put the filter back on, see if it fits and it's flush, and then I'm gonna drill a hole, put the T-barb, and yeah, it's just have a mock-up, and then take that filter into my house and finish the rest of that step. So here it goes. Alright, so I got the T in. It's still rubbing a little bit on the filter, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these off, kind of cut down some of this rubber right here, and then get a file and just file the edges of this, and it should be good. So right now I'm just gonna drill a hole, and then I'll show you the rest. Alright, so we're back at the bike, and I went to AutoZone today, and I got the filter, or the breather. So that's gonna be installed today. And then basically what I have left is just I'll show you right now. Okay, so I'm finally finished with it. I made it as flush as I can. I had to sand these edges off, but I did nick one and I made a small hole, so I had to use some more of that that JB Weld. But as you can tell, it's flush. Nothing's gonna be touching this. And then I did super glue some industrial plastic on here, and then I sanded it down so no air is getting sucked in by these holes. So I got these two fittings, got clamps, goes down. I got a T barb right here, and then bam, if you can tell, there it is. It just goes into an elbow barb, and then there's a filter, and I got that filter from AutoZone. So this is the first start, and this has been a mission. And what I'm actually doing is that tomorrow I'm gonna go pick up a whole new air intake system for 25 bucks, just in case anything happens or anything goes wrong. I have a spare part to put on, and it comes with the bolts, and it comes with the breather bolts, it comes with everything. So I'm gonna pick that up tomorrow. It's gonna be a drive, I think probably an hour drive, but it's kind of worth it to have that in my disposal in case anything happens to this. So I'm gonna put everything back together, and I'm gonna turn it on and see if it works. Hey, sorry about the voiceover here. My camera mic got unplugged, but the bike here started off a little bit groggy, but then kind of the computer kicked in and adjusted the air and fuel ratio. It ran great. I took this bike with this DIY breather kit 700 miles on a camping trip, which will be my next video on my channel. So, and it's gonna be a two-part because I got a lot of footage, and it was pretty fun. So yeah, it ran great. It did feel faster. Definitely felt like the throttle just, it was, you know, you rolled it a little bit and it picked up real quick. But I did take it off about a week after I came back from that trip. There was a little bit of oil residue in there because the clamps were getting loose and I had to tighten them up a couple times. Besides that, I think I just needed a fuel pack. I think that the engine was getting more oxygen, more air than the regular OEM filter and all that stuff that was in there. And it was getting more, fumes coming back into the filter. And then doing this modification, giving more oxygen, and the engine, the computer of the motorcycle couldn't balance that out. And I didn't want to mess up my motorcycle any more than I did with this thing, but it worked. So I decided to take it off. I put in a whole new, a used OEM air intake that I bought for $25, and now I'm just riding like that. And I'm hoping to buy a fuel pack 3 soon enough, and then just change the whole air filter and just change everything, just so my bike runs better. But yeah, it was a great experiment. I wouldn't recommend doing it. If you guys want to try it out, go ahead. It was just a DIY experiment that I wanted to do and see if I could. And it held up for that 700 miles. So at least I know that those 700 miles I did, there was no oil going into my engine and a bunch of fumes going back into my engine. So yeah, I probably saved the engine. Yeah, so I felt that that modification actually did help. I saved the engine from accumulating a lot of gunk and a lot of buildup, at least for those 700 miles going 70 to 80 miles an hour on the highway. Um, so yeah, it was great. I'm not a mechanic. Like I said, I'm not a mechanic. I don't do this for a living. I just do this for a hobby and I enjoy it. So if you guys want to try it out, do it yourself. So I want to thank everybody for watching this video. Just subscribe, comment, and if you have any questions, please leave them down below, and I'll try to help you out if you guys are trying to go with on the same path as I did. So thank you.